Did you know Warner Brothers tried to bury an old school classic that we all love? And it was fucking brilliant. I genuinely can't believe Warner Brothers tried to bury this film, because after finally seeing Coyote vs. ACME, I walked out thinking one thing. How on earth did somebody look at this and think no one should ever watch it? It's beyond me. It was charming, properly funny, weirdly heartfelt, and most importantly, it actually feels like Looney Tunes. That old Space Jam feeling you get when you're watching that film. Or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, for example. It was brilliant. The premise was brilliant. And I know that sounds obvious, but apparently in 2026, a studio making a film based on an old cartoon and actually representing the cartoon properly as it was meant to be done is a cause for a celebration. So well done. You got me. I'm in. It was class. The premise of this film is absolutely brilliant, right? Wile E. Coyote has spent decades buying rockets, explosives, catapults, magnets, and every other suicidal piece of equipment imaginable from the evil big ACME. And almost every single product has either failed spectacularly or nearly killed him. So eventually, he does what any sensible person would do. He lawyers up. This is where we see Will Forte enter as Kevin Avery, and right, he was absolutely fantastic. And I'll admit, I didn't know who he was before watching this film, as an actor I mean, but wow, he was brilliant. He played the struggling personal injury lawyer who suddenly finds himself representing possibly the most abused customer in corporate history. And honestly, Will Forte was perfect for it. He's got that permanently defeated look about him where you believe life has already dropped about 4 anvils on his head. And that's before the film has even started. This is what makes him the perfect partner for Wile E. Coyote. They're basically two losers who spent their entire lives being slapped around by the universe, and they decide all together, actually, you know what, one more go. And that is weirdly the heart of the film. Because underneath all the rockets, falling pianos, and cartoon violence, this is actually a film about not giving up. Never giving up. Which is so funny considering John Cena's in the film. Ball of knowledge if you got the reference.
And his name is John Cena!
And who better to tell this story than Wile E. Coyote? The bloke's been flattened, exploded, burned, launched off cliffs and fired into the mountains for about 70 years. And every morning he wakes up to himself and thinks, I think today might be my day. You almost have to respect it. The film is completely unashamed of being a cartoon, and I loved that. Wile E. Coyote stays Wile E. Coyote. They didn't fuck about with it. They didn't make him talk constantly. They didn't give him some celebrity voice for a cash grab. And they didn't have him cracking some TikTok jokes and or TikTok dances like they did at the end of She-Hulk with one of those twerking celebrities. Brilliant. So glad they didn't. And they didn't have Coyote throw up a 6'7" either, which was fantastic. He's still expressive, silent, and unbelievably unlucky. Exactly how we want him. Another thing to note is the animation keeps that classic 2D Looney Tunes look about it while trying to put the characters into a live action real life world. I felt like I could have been sat next to a cartoon watching it and I wouldn't have batted an eye. That's how convincing it was. It was really good and it worked. It's source material based stuff and you just need to keep it. It's fantastic. And it works so much better than trying to make them look realistic ever could. I do not need a photorealistic Wile E. Coyote. I need him to hold up a little tiny sign saying he's made a catastrophic mistake approximately half a second before a fucking boulder lands on him. That's cinema. And John Cena is absolutely fantastic as ACME's lawyer. He's become incredibly good at understanding when a film needs him to just be ridiculous. Watch Ricky Stenicki or Vacation Friends. He can be that serious, deadpan, straight to the camera actor with that dry humour, or he can just be ridiculous and over the top. He is fantastic for this role. The perfect casting, and honestly, I loved it. In this, he plays a corporate villain, and he's representing the most important company on earth, while simultaneously arguing with a cartoon coyote. And his seriousness makes him even funnier. It just works. Oh, and you've also got Bugs, Daffy, Porky, Foghorn Leghorn, and plenty of other Looney Tunes characters appearing throughout. And thankfully, most of it doesn't feel like, oh, look, it's that character you remember. They actually feel like they belong in that world. The closest comparison for me would obviously be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Goated film. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you've got to go and see it. Humans and cartoons just simply exist together, which is really cool, and no one questions it. And the film just gets on with telling this story. But the funniest thing about Coyote versus ACME isn't even something the filmmakers originally planned. Because this is a film about the little guy taking on the supermassive, gigantic corporation that only sees people as numbers. And then they finished filming, and Warner Brothers effectively tried to make the movie disappear for financial reasons. You genuinely could not script the irony. How good is that? It's so perfect. Warner basically became ACME. They made a movie about corporate greed and then accidentally gave the film the greatest marketing campaign imaginable by behaving like the villains. And that whole background actually makes the film feel strangely romantic now. Because when you think about it, Coyote vs. ACME itself became Wile E. Coyote. It got flattened, written off, dropped off a cliff, and everyone assumed it was dead. And then somehow, it just got back up. Maybe today is the day. There's even something quite lovely about sitting in a cinema watching something that for a while I genuinely thought I'd never get to see. We genuinely thought we'd never get to see. Hundreds of people worked on this. Animators, actors, writers, editors, crew members. And their work just nearly vanished. So the fact that we're now getting to sit there laughing at it makes it feel like a tiny victory for films actually being treated as films rather than numbers on a spreadsheet. Which again, the whole premise of the movie. Is it perfect? No. But what is? There are moments where the courtroom story slows things down a little bit, and there's probably a version of this that's 10 minutes shorter and maybe a little bit tighter, because classic Looney Tunes was pure concentrated chaos. Trying to stretch that energy over a feature-length film was always going to require some quieter moments. But honestly, I don't mind. Because the slower bits give the film enough heart that when the cartoon madness and shit fucking hits the fan, it all comes back. You actually care about the characters involved. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. Like, Jen, actually was fucking brilliant for that. I went in expecting a fun film with Wile E. Coyote blowing himself up, chasing the Roadrunner, never getting it right. And I came out genuinely rooting for him. Coyote vs. ACME understands something surprisingly beautiful about this character. Wile E's never really been defined by his failure. He's defined by what he does after he falls. He gets back up, draws another ridiculous diagram, orders another box from ACME, and tries again. And you know what? Ironically, there's something strangely human about that. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. It's funny, nostalgic without being lazy, genuinely charming, occasionally quite clever, and made with an obvious love for the Looney Tunes, which is all that matters, especially with all the dead weight that Hollywood's pushing out at the minute. Maybe it isn't a masterpiece, but after seeing everything this film went through just to exist, seeing Wile E. Coyote standing there on a cinema screen somehow feels absolutely perfect. They tried to kill the film, they failed, which, when you think about it, is probably the most Wile E. Coyote ending imaginable.
That's all, folks.
And that's all, folks. Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much for watching. I've been Sesh Moose, and I want you to subscribe and like. Helps me grow the channel and also keeps me motivated to pump out the content for you. Let's work together. Team Sesh Moose, let's fucking go.